1025 WNBF, Michael Vasquez. Good morning.
Morning, Bob. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Okay. I've liked the show so far. It's been very interesting. And let me address first one of the things you had mentioned. Yes, Hillary Clinton did look very good last night, and she did very well versus Donald Trump. Something that people, if they're looking at this, especially on C-SPAN, they should probably take a look, especially when she's talking about gun control. One of the reasons why she was so polished, she's reading off the notes. She's literally quoting her notes. Watch her eyes. And
well, why doesn't Donald Trump do that?
I don't know.
I've often wondered if candidates see an opponent, or Donald Trump has seen debates before, and he knows some people in debates read from notes. Why didn't he bring some notes?
I don't know.
And the thing is, I mean, my preference, not that I have any control over it, my preference is for any debate, when somebody comes in, or any forum, that they come in just with themselves, not even taking notes, and not bringing notes in to refer to. Let's make it a real debate, a real challenge to think on your feet. That's my preference. I know that it seldom happens. So I don't criticize the rules. Apparently the rules allowed it. So that's, if she, Trump has criticized people repeatedly in the past for using a teleprompter, and yet for his biggest speeches, what does he use? A teleprompter, and for good reason.
I'm not disputing that she's
all right.
The rules.
So, yeah,
part of the reason why she came off so polished.
Well, and also because she's had so much experience. She could debate, I think, almost anybody, and probably, if not win, at least make it even. I think we would be hard pressed to find somebody in this country who could beat Hillary Clinton in the best of three series of best of three debates. I think she's, just because of her experience, and she knows they spent, I'm sure, who knows how many hours coaching her about some little things not to do, not to interrupt, not to take the bait when he tries to push your buttons. And for her, it worked. Let's face it.
I agree. I think she's an excellent debater. I don't think anyone can question that. She has excellent experience in debate. And so, which is all the more reason why I found it interesting that she was reading off the prepared notes. And yes, Donald Trump should have done the same. But it goes to the point of the fact that the debate from start to finish was entirely disappointing for the moderators and both the candidates, and the issues that were...
What did Lester Holt do wrong? What should Lester Holt have done? You know, everybody's blasting him this morning. Everybody says Lester Holt's the big loser, and to me that's no surprise. Easier to attack the moderator than to defend what your candidate did. But what specifically should Lester Holt have done?
He lost control of the debate at the very first question.
I'm telling you, with these candidates, there's no moderator that controls these two candidates.
He didn't try.
The only way, Michael Vasquez, the only way Lester Holt could have gotten that debate under control, and even then, probably not, is if he used a stun gun and pepper spray.
Well, we'll never know, because he never made the attempt.
Because look, in a live situation like that, where you've got one extremely experienced debater and another person who's very, very at ease in a live TV setting, Lester Holt had no hope, because the only way, if he tried to rein them in, it would have turned into a shouting match. He tried a couple of times, and it's notable, most of the interruptions that Holt did were directed at Donald Trump, but still, Donald Trump, when it comes to a live setting like that, I'm sorry to have to use the word, but I think it's accurate, he's incorrigible. He'll do what he wants to do, regardless of whether it's Lester Holt or... I can't think of another good example. It's impossible to control two presidential candidates who don't want to focus on the issues. And my thought is, neither candidate wanted to spend more time focusing on issues. They wanted to make it more about each other and more about themselves.
And I agree, but at the same time, Mr. Holt didn't make the attempt to take control of this, especially at the very beginning, where it would have made maybe some difference, at least to rein it in a little bit. He didn't even make the attempt. He ignored that. He failed as a moderator to even attempt to try and have control of it. And so that's the failure on his part, beyond some of the other things he did later on in the debate. And both of the candidates failed the public because they didn't truly address any of the issues and present real solutions. And I think it was a failure all the way around, and it didn't do anything for anyone, which is why we're not going to see the poll numbers change. But it also brings up the question you asked. If there was a question that should be asked of the candidates, what would I ask? Well, Mr. Babinec fielded for me on my question when I'm listening to him, because it would be the same question I would ask him. Why should the public trust you enough to elect you, given your history and your actions during the campaign to date? I would say that of Mr. Babinec. I would say that of Hillary Clinton. I would say that of Donald Trump, because I believe all of them have failed the public in that respect.
Well, I think that general question could be posed to many candidates in a multitude of races, because whether it's a case such as Hillary Clinton, who has been elected to the U.S. Senate repeatedly, so she has electoral experience, or somebody like Donald Trump, who's never run for anything else before. I think yes, holding people very, very specifically accountable to their entire public record, I think that is a very important thing. I have to say, with respect to a moderator in a presidential debate, you can't control them. You can try. And especially with that format, I want, and I know apparently it's not going to happen, I want a debate with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and a single moderator at a table. Nobody else in the room, no camera people, no hangers-on, no notes. Sit them at a table, 90 minutes, and let's just do it. Let's do it.
I got a better one for you. Let's do a Lincoln Douglas thing. Brief the people, brief the cameras. Just if the camera is running, one moderator, Lincoln Douglas.
Well,
keep going until you're done.
I wouldn't mind that. I still like my idea too of the Sunday night before the election, November 6th, from 7 to 11 p.m. Bring in the presidential candidates and the vice presidential candidates and 4 moderators, including Rush Limbaugh, including Keith Olbermann, including Rachel Maddow, and including Bill O'Reilly. So you've got a pretty balanced panel of moderators and all the candidates, nobody else in the room, robocams. It's 4 hours, no rules. Let's talk issues. Let's see how it plays out. Won't happen, but there would be a tremendous audience, and it happening so close to the election. We could see who could really think on their feet. The debates are part of an ongoing job interview for the most important post on the planet. So, no rules. Let them behave the way they think they should behave. If they're going to be respectful to their opponent and to the moderators, let them do that. If they can't do that, let them do that too. And then November 8th, when the polls open, let the American public decide.